Uso's career in WWE has taken a turbulent turn in the weeks following his loss to CM Punk at Saturday night's main event. Once celebrated as one of the company's most beloved babyfaces, who still gets huge reactions in arenas, Jey is now surrounded by a growing controversy, mainly on the internet, backstage rumors, and fan hostility that casts doubt on his standing, both in the locker room and with the WWE fanbase as a whole. What was once a story of triumph and redemption has become one of frustration, uncertainty, and maybe transformation. And the parallels to Roman Reigns, his popular cousin, and his descent into villainy are becoming all a little bit too obvious to ignore. What should be Jey Uso's next move? Shall he yeet the good yeet and continue to be a good guy? Or shall his yeet turn to a dark side? I'm Kevin Callum for Sportskeeda Wrestling. It would be very Usy of you to hit that like button, share this video with your wrestling buddies, and subscribe for more content just like this. Seriously, every time you do one of those things, it genuinely helps us out. Thanks a lot. The high expectations that accompanied Jey Uso's ascent in earlier chunks of 2025 are the root of his current problems. Jey reached the top when he won the Royal Rumble in Indianapolis in January, a match I witnessed that, though was controversially met online, the live audience was really into it. And then he went on to win the World Heavyweight Championship from the seemingly undefeatable at the time Gunther at WrestleMania 41. Yeah, following years of working his way as a tag team performer, now establishing himself as a singles performer. He was hailed by fans as a resilient underdog who was last emerging from the shadow of Roman Reigns. He no longer needed the bloodline, but his own beating heart that connected with the fans. He was portrayed by WWE for months as a representation of tenacity, family strife, and settled in with his own self-reliance. But as frequently is the case in professional wrestling, the momentum is difficult to maintain and keep going. He only held the title for 2 months as his booking became less focused and his connection with the audience started to deteriorate just a little bit. Specifically on the internet, fans' natural enthusiasm gave way to skepticism and hashtags and believing that WWE was pressuring Jey into a main event role before he was fully prepared. When Jey Uso faced CM Punk at Saturday night's main event for the vacant World Heavyweight Championship, it should have been an opportunity to reclaim his credibility. Instead, it may have exposed his fragile reputation with some fans, not the fans that were yeeting for him. The match was solid and had its highlights, but there were some issues, with one specific neck-breaker spot being one that a lot of people latched onto online as a deciding factor for maybe Jey Uso not being ready for these main event title matches. The anti-Uso contingent also criticized the match on Uso's side for timing issues, and an overall lack of apparent composure in their eyes further fueled the perception that he might crack under the pressure. Despite it not being match of the year, it was still a very competitive match in Utah that felt like it could go either way in its final moments, with both wrestlers low on their battery. Punk blasted Jey Uso with yet another GTS to seal the deal. Despite holding the world title for a few minutes at SummerSlam, this would be CM Punk's first unfiltered true world title win without somebody cashing in on him in WWE since 2013. When Punk pinned Jey, though, to win this match, fans cheered. There was maybe a sense of relief, and Punk celebrated in the ring with pyrotechnics. But the cameras caught a wide shot. Jey was sitting at ringside after the bell, taking in defeat, clutching his head and muttering to himself, his expression somewhere between anger and disbelief. What came next, however, was even more telling. Hours after the show, Jey posted a photo on Instagram of Punk holding the championship, captioned, "Y'all win," with a middle finger emoji. A clear message of defiance directed at both those critical fans online who seem to be piling on this movement and maybe WWE itself. It was kind of a public outburst for wrestlers that is rarely seen without making some type of intent. Whether it was part of a planned storyline or a genuine sign of frustration, it revealed a man at his breaking point. Meanwhile, within storyline, WWE appears to be leaning into Jey's instability as a narrative device. His behavior has grown more erratic and antagonistic on on television. The same fans who once clearly cheered him with no division whatsoever are now maybe the target of his bitterness. His cold attitude suggests the potential beginnings of a heel turn. Wrestling analysts have long noted that WWE often utilizes real fan reactions to shape storylines. In Jey's case, the timing couldn't be more clearer. Much like how Roman Reigns' initial fan reaction eventually fueled his transformation into the tribal chief, Jey's fall from grace might serve as the foundation for a new, more complex persona. This potential shift, yes, just potential at the moment, has already drawn comparisons to Reigns himself, both in tone and execution. Jey started to carry himself in the same quiet arrogance and slow-burning fury that defined Roman's heel persona. His promos have changed as well. Once passionate and emotional, they now feel more detached and condescending. While appearing on the Raw recap, Jey declared, "We equals now," a pointed statement aimed at his cousin, but also an assertion of self-importance. That line alone encapsulates the direction WWE may be heading with him. A man corrupted by the very ambition that once made him a beloved figure. If Jey becomes a reflection of Roman's tyranny and mind games, which he's been in the past, a fallen hero turned self-proclaimed leader, it could be a completely fascinating narrative cycle that ties back to the Bloodline saga, with a character change that would completely shift his career. Yet a turn to the villainous side for someone who's still getting loud, positive, hands up and down, live across the entire arena reactions. WWE is risking something, and they need to exercise with caution. Jey's in-ring game would also have to adjust and feel more playing into his desperate pursuit than rather his yeeting for fun ways, embracing the hubris of entitlement. Maybe a new finishing move? It's also worth considering the psychological elements of Jey's story. For years, he lived in the shadow of his family's towering legacy. Roman Reigns' dominance and manipulation, the Usos' success as a tag team, and the broader Anawahi family have all created a high-pressure environment where the expectations are almost impossible to meet. And then the burden of people claiming he's just a byproduct of nepotism. WWE has blurred these lines between reality and fiction before, and if they choose to integrate it into Jey's story and the negative fan reaction into the storyline, it could reignite interest. Imagine a scenario where Jey finally breaks and lashes out at the fans and claiming he gave them everything only to be ridiculed yet again. But that kind of thing has been done. Maybe it needs a new little spice. This kind of bitter self-righteousness could form the basis for a compelling heel persona. Feud with CM Punk could easily evolve into a storyline centered on respect, jealousy, and legacy. The next few weeks will be crucial. WWE's creative decisions, whether they script Jey as a tragic anti-hero, a ruthless villain, or a humbled man seeking redemption, will determine whether his rough patch becomes a turning point or a permanent setback. Should Jey Uso turn away from the Yeet? Should Jey Uso become a heel? Get in the comments and let us know. We want to know what you think. You watched the whole video? Come on, you got a take? Let's hear it.